welcome to Home Truth Niger. Today is the Q&A segment about Nigerian men. Basically, the question and answer about Nigerian men, episode 4. So, I just want to answer, I think, one or two questions that have been asked. So basically, I had to, pick these questions asked either via the comment section or via emails that were sent to me, or sometimes through the WhatsApp channel. So I want to shed more light on it today. Be answering two questions. These are questions that I felt I've never talked on in any of my previous topics, and I would love to, throw or put a little bit of light on it, my based on my opinion. So, again, as I've always said, please, if you want to reach out to me, you can always contact me via WhatsApp, or we can speak via WhatsApp call, or as well, you can also write me on hometruth86 at gmail.com. I'll be happy to hear from you and to answer any existing question you have as a result of doubt. So, without further much ado, let's go. So, the first question that I want to talk about is a lady asks, do you think the wife in Nigeria is aware and approves of their husband having a second wife abroad? When I hear this, sometimes it comes off as if they are both scamming the person abroad. Now, this is a very honest question, and the truth of the matter is that some women are in this together with their husband, and this is no joke. Some women are in this with their husband together. There's no joke. Now, just let me explain to you how it works. Let me tell you how some of this works out. So, you have a Nigerian man who is struggling in Nigeria. He's married. He has no job. He has no skill. He's not doing any business. He's married and probably has a child or two, and nothing is coming forth. So he's basically suffering. There's no source of livelihood or anything. And then the wife comes to him one day and say, "Listen, is it not your mates that are in other countries, fighting, sending money back home and building houses, for their family? What are you doing here? Why don't you also find a way to get out of Nigeria?" So the next thing he does is he goes to an agent, a travel agent, and he meets a travel agent, and then he sees what the travel agent has on offer, how he can, basically get to any of these Western countries. So when the travel agent gives him his price, he borrows money, save up money or whatever, pays a travel agent. And when he does this, the next thing he does is he travels out of the country. Now, before traveling, some of them sit down and they discuss with their wife a particular time frame, the plan, and they agree, how things will be done, how he, wants to go about his way of getting his green card or his residential permit and then sending for them. So when they strike an agreement, he comes overseas, he finds a lady, uh, depends on the immigration regulation. He marries the lady. If he cannot marry the lady, the next thing he does is to, he puts the lady in a family way, pregnants the lady overseas. Now, doing these two things is trying to beat the immigration regulations so that he will be qualified, for the green card or the resident permit in your country. Now, when he gets this, the next thing he does basically is to look for a way on how, to dump you. He's gonna find a way on how to dump you and put you at one side. So once he's done that, he would file for family reunion visa, and once this family reunion visa is filed, um, the wife and the child or children is had in Nigeria, they would fly over and join him. So this is a project that could take roughly 5 to 8 years, and there are a lot of women who can, wait this out. There are women who can wait this out most especially, the very desperate, evil, hungry, and shameless women. They will support this, of course. So this is the case when this individual wants to travel. But if this individual doesn't want to travel, he doesn't have money to go to an agent, the next thing he does is to go on a dating site, and find a way to bring you to the country so you get married to him, and then he goes to join you, and then either way he does what he wants to do. Now, I like to make this clear that most Nigerian women will never share their man with anybody. So this is not like, oh, it's something that is peculiar with Nigerian women. No, Nigerian women don't want to share their man. They would rather you stay, in the country, fight with them, and be successful. Most Nigerian women don't want to share their man. There are cases of women who have left marriages where they discover that their man has, such plan, either dating or trying to scam a woman online, or trying to go overseas and then trying to work their way to getting a lady married and then bringing them there. So this is not something that every Nigerian woman wants to, but you have the few Nigerian women who are willing to do that. There are few Nigerian women who are willing to do that, and that's for sure. So the second question is: so is the wife to have another husband since her first husband is abroad, or are Nigerian women groomed to put up with husband having more than one wife? Well, the truth is that most African culture, I repeat, most African culture permits polygamy, and you got a lot of women who are okay being second wives. Sometimes these women are coming also from polygamous home. So they saw their dad or their grandfather married to more than one wife. So for them, it is normal. So they don't mind, being in a polygamous home. So the truth is that the wife, unfortunately, when the husband is away overseas working, is not allowed by tradition to have another husband. The only time she's allowed to have another husband is except she totally annuls her marriage. Then she's allowed to, remarry. But that is not always the case. It's not always the case. The simple truth is, because most men who do this, as I'm talking about men who leave their wife or family back home to travel, some of these men are very, very smart. They don't just get married to this woman and then they leave her and travel. No, most of them, before they do this, they put the woman in a family way. They make the woman, they make sure she's got like one or two kids, and then they travel. By doing so, they know it becomes harder. It's selfish, yes, you can say that. It becomes harder for another man, to show interest in that lady. The truth of the matter is that women who are with kids are not always uh, at the advantage, when meeting a partner compared to a woman who is single and without kids. So this is not to say that women with kids don't meet partners. Certainly they do, but in the culture, most men who are ready to settle down would always show strong preference, to women who are without kids, and it's important to understand that women, not all, but some who are coming from poor homes and with no or little education, in most cases, are left with no choice but to stay in this situation. I mean, because where do you expect them to go? Who will accept them? Uh, Trust me, there are certain men who, you know, would go for a lady with kids, but it's not the standard. It's not the standard. So this is like after much consideration. In fact, some men see it like they're doing the lady a favor. So because the truth is, you have some of these men who live like gods, live like dictator in Nigeria. So these men who want to live this certain way, like God, where you can question their decision, where they, they tell you yay is yay and nay is nay and all sort of that. They love, going to women who are disadvantageous in status quo, in the sense that this lady hasn't got education. She's not coming from a well-to-do family. She's coming from a very poor home, no education, no skill to survive. So these men go and pick these ladies and they marry them. To them, marrying them is seen as taking away stress from the family, and the family also sees it as some kind of poverty alleviation scheme. It's like marrying this man will bring wealth to the family. So this man can do anything they sole desire to do to this lady, and she would say nothing. And when you come to Nigeria, you will see a very strong correlation with women who are considered to be career women being more single or not yet married compared to women who are without education and are coming from a very poor background. The simple reason is because these women who are considered to be career women, one way or the other, educated or independent, or can generate their own money themselves, they are considered to be uh, westernized. They are considered to, not, they can't stay in homes, or they don't want to be conquered, if I may use this word. So most men, not all, would rather go for the women they would tell sit, and the woman will say stand, and she will stand. Like coming to America, what Eddie Murphy was doing to one of the ladies who wanted to marry, was coming for marriage and stuff. So these women would not take this rubbish of a man wanting to have a second wife. Before the topic is even raised, they would, exit from the equation. They would go out from the whole thing. So because of this, most men in reality try as much as possible to avoid them. So in conclusion, guys, most people who you see indulge in this do so in most cases from a situation of hardship, and they have spouses who do not care how they make it, so long as they make it. That's the most important thing. Some women even push their husbands, to do this, or else they would die of hunger. That's why it is very, very important. I've always stated it is very, very important, to investigate and make sure that if you have a particular lady who is a consistent caller to your man, always calling and ringing, and your man has introduced this lady to you as sister, cousin, or what have you, or friend, or relative, it is very, very important for you to ask for proof, ask for demand for date of birth if possible, ask for childhood photos and other things, that could actually establish that they are siblings, or relative. Because there are cases where some women of these men, because of delay from the man, they start calling consistently, to find out what he's still doing with you. If, for instance, the man has said, okay, look, this is a 5 year or 6 year project, and the man has overstayed, she starts calling him back and forth consistently. It's 5 years. What are you doing? When are you going to divorce her? When are you going to kick her out? It's 6 years. When are you going to kick her out? When are you going to divorce her? etc. So it is very, very important for you to always do your background check. That sister, that cousin, that relative, there's a lady who is always calling, da 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 da. Try as much as possible to do your background check. It will really, really help you on the long run. So, guys, with this, I'd like to say thank you for listening to the Q&A. I would bring another video hopefully during the week. And please like, share, and subscribe. Wishing you all a good start to the new week. Home Truth Nigeria. Peace out.